Justice does not exist. It is not a tangible thing, you cannot touch it. You can't prove its existence with maths. All you can do is believe that it exists, trust that it exists. And in the story of Monogatari, this is perfectly showcased, as in Monogatari, justice is simply our own volition. And so that is what we shall discuss today. So if you find yourself entertained at any point during the video, then consider liking, subscribing and ringing that bell, as I cannot explain to you how much such a small action can do for this channel. And if you want to support this channel even further, then perhaps check out my Patreon. Anyway, on with the video. Justice is one of the most central themes of Monogatari, even if you didn't notice it. Sure, it's bloody obvious in nisemonogatari, but I'd argue it's even more blatantly shown in Bakemonogatari and Owari-monogatari. But the reason we may not realise is because we as an audience, known as Araragi surrogates, don't understand what justice really is. In nisemonogatari we are shown the Fire Sisters brand of justice. A justice that thwarts evil, a justice that is good and punishes bad. The Fire Sisters always impart justice on someone else's behalf. They went after Kaiki because he scammed the other kids of the town, not because they themselves had any issue with him. Neither of them had met him, neither had been hurt or conned by him. All they had was the word of others, but that was enough for Karen to march over there and declare she would plant her fist in his face. They decided he was evil because that is what others decided. Karen went after him in the name of justice, but it's not her justice. As Araragi asks her, does she really have any of her own will in it? He argues they are just playing hero, just fighting against what others call evil. Araragi's argument is that a hero with no will of their own is just a fake. If you can't make up your mind yourself, if you just blindly fight whatever someone else calls evil, then can you really be called justice? Karen says other people provide them with the reason to fight, but if that's true then they are nothing more than enforcers picking on anyone that the majority sees as wrong or evil. Justice is not objective, but that doesn't mean it is simply a majority rule. Araragi himself was terrified of such an idea of a manufactured justice, with the only deciding factor being numbers. Araragi chastised his sisters because they were an agent to the fake manufactured justice that scared him so much. A justice that wasn't just that, wasn't in the name of goodness. A justice with an agenda, one made to punish someone that people don't like. And the reason this scares Araragi so much is because this is also exactly how he operates. He doesn't save people, help people out of some innate goodness in his heart. Instead, it's because people give him the reasons to fight. He is just as bad, he is exactly the same as his sister. However, Araragi's hypocrisy is something we'll push off to the side for now, as I want to go back and tear apart the Fire Sisters' justice just a little bit more. Araragi tells them that only the strong can act on justice, that if you lack the strength you are just a fake playing hero. Karen argues that she is strong because she knows karate, but that's not the right kind of strength, it is strength of will. Once again, she lacks any will of her own, she is weak because she doesn't do things for herself. Which again is hypocritical of Araragi, as he is exactly the same. He also is too weak to do things for himself, which he subconsciously knows. Yet even so, when they fight, he wins, and the reason is will, because although a lot of what Araragi does is fueled by the reasons of others, his love for his family is not. That is his justice, his will, and so when fighting for that reason, he will triumph. As Karen once again was fighting for the justice bestowed upon her by other people, whereas Araragi was fighting for nothing more than his love for his family. As that is what justice is in Monogatari. It is not right or wrong, it is not black and white. Justice is simply what you believe is right, not what others believe, it is what you believe. Justice for the sake of others is fake, it is hollow, it is not true justice, as there is no will in it. I mean, just look at Kaiki. He is someone who doesn't believe in justice, and that in of itself is his justice. His view of what is right and wrong is that nothing is right or wrong. He utterly crushes Karen in spirit and will, because he knows exactly who he is and what he stands for. Whereas Karen doesn't know who she is or what she stands for, she needs somebody else's input, the reasons of others to fight for. This is the reason that in the off-season's Karen Ogre, she has to come to discover herself, because Karen's biggest flaw is that she is unable to act on her own. This is the same for Skihi, but in her case it's kind of out of her control since she is a mimicking bird and all. The point is that justice is just will. Kagane is another character who embodies justice. She believes in universal absolutism. With every fibre of her being, she believes that there is an objective right and wrong, and so that is true justice. As although she also sees things as black and white, good and evil, like Karen does, she had 100% confidence in her belief. She has the will to act on it, absolutely. Seeing things as black and white is not wrong. However, if you are too weak to not even be able to assign good and bad yourself, then you cannot even attempt to call yourself justice. Karen argues that as long as she doesn't give up, she hasn't lost, that as long as you don't give up, justice will prevail. And on this she is right, because although I've been going on about how Karen is a fake and just a kid playing hero, that was just a bit of gaslighting, not from me, but from Aragi. As remember, we see Nisemonogatari through his eyes. Of course he believes that his kid sister is just playing, of course he thinks only he can take the burden, because he is just as bad as her. He says that people will get hurt, that she will get hurt because she is too weak. But newsflash, Aragi gets beaten to near death every time he tries to help someone. He is just as bad, if not worse than her. He is no symbol of justice, just a hypocrite. And of course that's the point. The whole series is about exposing Aragi's flaws, so that he can confront them and overcome them by saving Ogi, saving himself. And this is where the idea of justice really becomes pivotal to the entire series. Ogi was an oddity made by Aragi to criticize himself, but he was subconsciously doing this even before Ogi came about. He tells Karen not to use grand words like justice when she is just acting out of self-satisfaction and not self-sacrifice, but these words were just aimed at himself. He is not some hero saving others at the cost of his body, he is someone playing the hero for his own self-satisfaction. That isn't to say Aragi doesn't want to help others, but it isn't a purely selfless act. He does stuff for the sake of others and gains self-satisfaction out of doing it. What part of that can be called justice? Helping others in a half-assed way will only hurt them in the long run. You can't save anyone like this, which of course brings us round to the most important quote in the entire series. You can only save yourself all on your own. Aragi had to save himself all on his own. He had to do something of his own volition. He saved himself for no one but himself. He didn't use the reasons of others to save Ogi. In fact, he went against what Gain asked of him. Instead, he did what Ogi asked of him, what he himself asked himself. It was 100% selfish decision, one he made for himself and nobody else, and that is justice. Aragi's justice was saving Ogi, saving himself, as justice is simply doing something of your own volition. Justice is fluid, it is not something anyone can define. It is a personal ideal we all hold. In Monogatari, one's justice is one's will, the strength they possess to act on what they think is right. Aragi was not wrong for helping the series' many heroines, but he couldn't call that justice, as if you're going to help someone then you must do it of your own volition. Justice can be in service to others of course, but only if it's because you believe that it is right. Justice doesn't seek its rationale outside itself. If you need others to tell you what justice is, then that isn't justice. Sure, your ideals can be shaped by others, but never should they be dictated to by others, because they are yours and yours alone. It's fine to fight for justice, but if you do, make sure it's for what you believe in, not just what others tell you, as the only one who knows what your justice is you, just like how the only person who can save you is you, all on your own. Comment of the week comes from Onizame, and yes, I guess Akainu and Unzen are actually quite similar. And if you want to go the extra mile in supporting this channel, then consider pledging to my Patreon, where for as little as £2.75 a month, you can get your name at the end of the video, like Ikari Desu, 7SO, Rinjack9696, Dewey, and General Tonyos. So with all that said and done, I've been Seth the Sin, the Deadly Sin of Geek, and I'm signing out. Stay safe, everyone.